Testing, testing, testing. Hey, here we are. We got it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you are listening to this. This is Coffee with Kevin. And yes, I'm Kevin. And even more importantly, this is my coffee. Ooh. Yes, this is good this morning. This is very good. I hope you have a hot cup of coffee or a cup of tea or ice water, whatever it is you're drinking, smoothie, juice, or whatever, here's to you in this week. Now, today is a good day for a good day. It's as simple as that. And that's a path that I always take. That's a motto that I always take because every day is a good day for a good day. We don't always have it though, do we? Because we get caught up in everything that's going on around us, and we might get caught up in the specific things that are happening to us as our day starts going, and then it's not a good day. But it doesn't have to be that way. Excuse me. It doesn't have to be that way. You can make it a good day. Every day is a good day for a good day. It's the 21st of April. The 20 we're already on a downslope of our fourth month of the year. The year's going by pretty fast. Not as fast as last year, as I've been talking about. I've been trying to do everything, enjoying more moments and letting the present seep in. So it's not going by as fast. And some weeks have gone by incredibly, I don't want to say slow because it doesn't sound right, but wonderfully. They've gone by really, really well. Okay. Last week I committed to something, and this is for the end. But I said, you know what? I'm going to stop I'm going to use more than just great or fantastic. I'm going to look up some synonyms for them, and tremendous. One of them I found was something we all were used to hearing on the center stage. Excuse me, I got to get a napkin, got to get a tissue here. One of the, sorry about that. One of the ones one of the words I found was huge, huge. We know where that comes from. Wonderful, I use sensational, out of this world, breathtaking. Isn't that the kind of days you like to have? Remarkable, impressive, marvelous, wicked. That comes from Boston area. Everything's wicked cool, wicked nice. Tip top, spiffy. Here's a few words. Let's see what I have at the very end of this today to hope that you're going to have that kind of a day. So it's the 21st. So what do we have on this day? In 1986, and I remember this, there was a TV show. It was The Mysteries of Al Capone's Vault were being revealed by Geraldo Rivera. And there was a big build up towards it and all that, all the music and everything, and open it up, and it's like nothing there. Oh, it was a big letdown. Anticlimactic, is I believe they say that in the movie business. When you're looking for the climax of the movie, or whatever event it is, and then it becomes something completely opposite. And that was it. It was a letdown. Also, on this day last year, Pope Francis passed away, and then we had uh, the whole thing going on at the Vatican to elect a new pope, and you got smoke and everything, and we have the Pope Leo now. So that was it for this day. A few other things. I guess Prince passed away on this day in 2016. I never followed Prince, but I like the songs. I just never followed him as an artist. But yeah, that's the biggest events to talk about for this day. But what else is happening today? I still got the book in the background. I left the background there. Let's see. Yes, I can point in the right direction. My book, Living Your Dream Life. Okay, we're on to the fifth chapter today. The fifth chapter is what do you see when you look in the mirror? Also, we can talk about today is the mirror of reality and reclaiming your inherent worth. Because what I wrote when I said, what do you see when you look in the mirror? I'm thinking about, okay, how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? And we always, we've used this scale in the past of 1 to 10. Are you are you a 10? Now it's not how you look, but it's how you see yourself. And do you see yourself as just about perfect? Um, as a 10, or you see yourself as someone that has no worth at all. When I said perfect, I don't mean perfect. I mean uh, uh, all the worth you can possibly have. And then a one is no worth at all. And so, how do you see yourself? Where do you rate yourself on the scale? And in the book, I walk you through this. And, you know, when it comes to defining a winner, level 10 recognizes their self worth regardless of societal success and understands that failure is not the end of the world. That's, by the way, when you talk about mindset, that's a growth mindset. So a winner isn't someone who's successful all the time. A winner is someone who can go through things and, where they don't work out for them, when they so-called fail, and they're still in one piece. They're still whole. They still feel good about themselves. That's a winner. So I used to tell the story when I was doing sales training. Yeah, I used to actually run a sales training organization. My first business when I left corporate, and I'd have this story about, okay, what happens to you if you're on you're on an island by yourself and you're devoid of all those roles. You don't have to worry about being that employee. You don't have to worry about being that boss. You don't have to worry about being that son or daughter or mother or father or sibling, or you don't have to worry about any of the social stuff that you got going on that you're responsible for. You're none of that. Your roles are stripped. When I first went through this exercise, I was thinking to myself, whoa, this is cool. I don't have to worry about any of that. And now I can relax. Now it's perfect. But then I realized, if you are a father or you are a mother and you don't have to worry about your kids, you're still going to worry about them. I mean, it would feel nice to worry about them. It feels nice to have them depend on you and you depend on them. And if you are in a wonderful job, it feels really nice to go in and socialize with the people and everything. Then you become void of all that. Okay. And I realized that people would not feel so good being void of all that. I thought for sure, void of all that, you'd be great. But no, because sometimes we're dependent on the outside world, or often we're dependent on the outside world. We're dependent on our responsibilities to make us feel good about ourselves. We're depending on how the other people feel about us to make us feel good about ourselves. What our children feel about us, what our parents feel about us, what our siblings feel about us. And if that's not there, some people or many people don't feel good about themselves. The ones that do are the ones that feel good about themselves no matter what. So that's really the test. That's the test. So, you know, insecurity, it's common. All of us have a level of it. All of us is I don't think there's any real tens out there. There's a lot of high nines. I don't think there's any tens. We're always going to have something when it's something new that we're dealing with, we've never dealt with before. There's the ability for insecurities to come up and all that. So, yeah. But the interesting thing, and I ran into this many times, people with so-called big egos, they talk big about themselves, they brag about themselves and how good they are, and you've seen them, and they're really good at certain things. Those are the people who usually have insecurities because they have to feel good about by talking big about themselves. So it's funny that the people with those big egos are the ones that probably are ones most insecure. It's really wild the way that works, you know, and you don't get it fall into that role trap. And I was talking about being void of those roles, and the reason being is because sometimes we we feel good in certain roles, especially the roles that we're really good at, and it makes us feel good. But if those roles are gone, if all of a sudden we're not good at it, all of a sudden it makes us feel bad. When you're not doing as well as you shouldn't feel bad. You should just look inside. Okay, what's wrong here? Is there something for me to learn here? Not kick yourself, not feel bad about yourself. And lastly, I talked about fake it till you make it, and I love this. This has been me for the past 50 years, long before I wrote the book, because I had been listening to people like Zig Ziglar and stuff like that. And he talks about, okay, let's practice being the people we want to be. All right, let's practice thinking like, feeling like, talking like, walking like the people we want to be, the person we want to be. Okay, that's fake it till you make it. And what you end up doing is end up tricking. I used to talk about it as tricking your mind into the fact that you're already there. And then your mind goes to work for you to make sure more of it comes to you. It's actually you're reprogramming your mind for this new you. A lot of people say, no, 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 that's faking it till you make it is not great, because we have this new diagnosis that came in the last 20 years, the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is just it's another word to describe people with low self-esteem. They're on the lower end of that 1 to 10 scale, and yeah. When you have low self-esteem and you're good at something, all of a sudden you're thinking, maybe I'm not so good at that. Maybe if people see me as good at that, maybe I'm not so good at that. It's your self-esteem. Yes, it is. Not being able, it's funny. I talk to both ways. Some people, the people with the big egos, they over exaggerate what they're good at. And people with imposter syndrome, they underestimate what they're good at. And so it's really wild. And this is us as humans. This is us as humans. When you learn to realize that you have self-worth. And Zig Ziglar told this story, and maybe this was 30 years ago, 40 years ago in his recordings that I used to listen to. He's saying us as people, say we've got magic, we've got all the limbs, we've got the brain, we've got, you can hold out your hand and say, okay, I want to move this finger. And at the same time you're thinking, I want to move this finger, the finger moves. You can move every part of your body just by thinking it and executing on it. That's wonderful. Now, Zig said it's going to cost millions, hundreds of millions, and I'll say even billions to reproduce or try to reproduce what we are as humans. We see this now more than ever with AI, with robots, and everything else. Now, they're getting better and better at mechanical robots at being able to do things that we can as humans with our legs and arms and fingers and eyes. But they've spent billions over the years. And these AI companies are coming out, billions of dollars are being spent to make these computers, these AI programs, to think just a part of what we can think. Yet sometimes we look down on ourselves and see ourselves as not worth it. If you're looking at, money to come close to being a human being, money that's being spent to build something close to a human being, something close to us, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, like I said, um, you're worth it. You can do that. You're already there. God made us such an incredible creature with our nervous system, with the way we actually have a mind that can process, that can logic, that we have free will. There's no other animal on the planet that has free will or the ability to really look at it as being free and making choices from that point of view. That's incredible. If we're so incredible, why would you ever want to look down on yourself? And that's what this whole chapter is about. And this whole chapter is about, hey, looking at how do you make yourself, how do you get yourself, raise that bar for yourself in your mind, how you're looking at yourself? How do you get that closer to 10? And that's what that'll do. Living Your Dream Life is on Amazon if you're interested in it. I've got a couple of people on here. Angel, yes. Lou, good morning to both of you. Angel, I'm going to reach out to you because we were talking about you. Brenda and I were talking about you earlier. So I've got some questions for you. And Lou, good morning to you too. I hope you enjoyed this morning. And I hope this inspires you for the rest of the week to make it not only an incredible day, a tremendous week, a remarkable day. I'm reading from my list here of all these synonyms. Sometimes it's unbelievable. And sometimes it's unthinkable to feel that good. But you can and you will. Good morning, Brenda. You can and you will. Just be patient, be present. Be present and know how you're feeling. And every time you go to kick yourself, you say, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I made a mistake. That's just a mistake. I know this isn't me. All right. Have yourself a phenomenal. Here I am. That's one of the ones. Wow. Amaze balls. I've never heard that one. That's interesting. I want you to make it magical. Make yourself a magical day, an inspirational week, because you know it's in your power to do so. Take care, all. Bye-bye.